having been branded criminals and felons at early ages, often before they were even old enough to vote, arrested primarily for nonviolent and drug-related offenses, the very sorts of crimes that occur with roughly equal frequency in middle-class white communities and on college campuses, but go largely ignored. Arrested, swept into the system at young ages, branded criminals and felons, and then released into a permanent second-class status where they are stripped of the very rights supposedly won in the civil rights movement, like the right to vote, the right to serve on juries, and the right to be free of legal discrimination in employment, housing, access to education, and public benefits. What happened in Ferguson did not happen in a vacuum. The police are the most common point of interaction that people have with this new system of mass incarceration. The police are now the gateway into this system, and every stop, every frisk, every search, every encounter with the police occurs within this much larger apparatus of control and within a much larger historical, social, and political context. Racial profiling is nothing new. It can be traced back to the days of slavery, back to when police and private citizens stopped, interrogated, and seized black people who looked like they shouldn't be free. Racial profiling is nothing new, but the various systems of control it serves have morphed and changed over time, from slavery to Jim Crow and today to mass incarceration. What happened in Ferguson when a white police officer murdered an unarmed black man who, by all accounts, posed no threat to him, wasn't an isolated incident, far from it. It was a brutal and glaring demonstration of the value this latest system of control places on black life. Just in the past couple of months, there have been numerous instances of unarmed black men killed by the police, names you may or may not know. There is Eric Garner of New York, John Crawford of Ohio, Ezel Ford of Los Angeles, Dante Parker, the list could go on and on. And this is just in the last couple of months. Isabel Wilkerson, the author of The Warmth of Other Suns, recently published an excellent essay in The Guardian, pointing out the parallels between police violence today and the lynchings of an era supposedly long gone. She writes, "Not terribly long ago, in a country that many people misremember, if they knew it at all, a black person was killed in public every 4 days for often the most mundane of infractions, for taking a hog, making boastful remarks, for stealing 75 cents. No trial, no jury, no judge, no appeal. Now well into a new century, a family in Ferguson, Missouri, buries yet another American teenager killed at the hands of authorities. The rate of police killings of black Americans is nearly the same as the rate of lynchings in the early decades of the 20th century." Let me repeat that. In this era of Obama, the rate of police killings of black Americans is nearly the same as the rate of lynchings in the Jim Crow era. Now, of course, there are many differences between the violence of the past and what happens today, but there are important parallels. Parallels we ignore at great risk to our democracy. The images and stereotypes built into American culture since the days of slavery have persisted to this day, mutating and changing form over time, supporting new systems of control. As Isabel Wilkerson puts it so plainly, she says, quote, "Last century's beast and savage have become this century's gangbanger and thug," end quote. The very stereotypes and beliefs that were used to justify slavery, that black men were bestial, savage, prone to violence, oversexed, lazy, and must be forced to work, are the very same stereotypes that justified Jim Crow and which now justify a new system of racial and social control, lethal police violence when it is unwarranted. It is a system that has been born again in America, now known as mass incarceration.